Hi, I'm Jackie, and this is Spill, the unofficial official podcast for the Loose Cannons Wine Club. I'm here today with Zach Lane. He is an avid soccer player and an engineer living in New York City, Manhattan's Lower East Side. He's a big fan of Chuck Bass, and he is a moderate to large fan of Naruto. And what are we drinking today, Zach?
So I'll probably butcher this, but I'm drinking a sake up for show. Can you see that?
A little bit. Nice.
Sort of. Says Sawanatsuru Itsuraku Premium Grade Yamadanishiki Sake, product of Japan. And then on the bottom it says it is a traditional Komodo method sake. I've never been to Japan, nor have I ever spoken Japanese or spoken to anyone who speaks Japanese.
I am sure that you have spoken to someone who speaks
Well,
Japanese.
they haven't spoken Japanese to me.
Right, okay. Why do you say that? You don't have to be Japanese to drink sake or like.
No, just for my lack of pronunciation.
Oh, that was your disclaimer. Like,
Yes.
if I've offended you by speaking your language, by butchering your language, it was
Yes.
unintentional.
Yes.
I'm asking.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. So you're drinking Yamadani. Have you tried it yet?
No.
All right. Do you want to give it a? Do you want to? Do you want to?
Mmm.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. It's fine.
I was thinking too much about trying it to think about what it really tasted like, so I'm gonna get another try.
So I'm
It's good.
drinking. You like it? So I'm drinking this thing here that looks like lemonade. Is a Shibata Black Label Yuzu. I think you can't see it because of the
I can
blur.
see it. I would have guessed it was yuzu.
Yeah, so it's like a yuzu lemonade. It's a touch too warm right now, but it's really light and easy. Like I said, 8% and super tart. So it was made with the yuzu skin still on it. And so it's giving like, yeah, the same way that like a lemon rind has a little bit of like a pithy tart thing going on. This is the same thing, but yuzu.
I don't eat lemon rinds.
That's fair. But like sometimes they come as like or an orange rind might come as like a garnish on a cocktail or like cute little.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So where'd you get this? Where'd you get your sake?
Actually, I got it at a small sake shop that I didn't know existed until I was going to get this. It's called Sakeya or Sakaya. I don't know.
Okay.
Sakaya. Apparently, it's 2 blocks from my apartment. But yeah, I picked the one that was not $130.
Okay.
Picked a more moderately, but kind of seemed a normal one. You know, they had some funkier looking ones, and I got one that seemed like it was standard.
Yeah, I mean the one that you chose is on the more traditional side, like pretty classic. Did you pay maybe like $50 for it?
No, not even. It was like 25.
Cool. Awesome. And if I don't know if you know this, but sake can last in your refrigerator. Like if you close it up, it can last in your refrigerator for 40 days. So you don't need to drink that all tonight if you don't want to. Or maybe you and your roommates will kill it, you know.
Nah, man, I'm not sharing my premium grade Yamadanishiki.
I don't want to be a know-it-all, but I said it like that for 6 months before I learned that it's Yamada Nishiki, which like you just can't look at it too hard while you say it.
Sounds better, I think.
Yeah, it does.
I'm gonna shorten it to my Yama.
Okay. I
This
don't
is
know if
my
people know what you're talking about, but you can do that. Cool. And you're doing it, you decided to drink it warm, right?
It's like it's not hot, you know.
You can do that with a Komodo style, which is awesome. Like I
Is
said.
that what is that? What does the Komodo method mean? Is that like a regional thing? Is that like a
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Kimoto is like a traditional way of starting the sake. So you know, like anytime you're fermenting something, it needs a starter. And with sake, you've got the starter that kicks off the fermentation process, and then you've also got the yeasts that are gonna convert the sugars into alcohol. And the Kimoto method is this method where people like you've seen people churn butter. You like know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But basically, you kind of like stomp the sake mash like rhythmically, like people sing songs like it's like churning butter, and they thought that that would like activate the fermentation process. Kind of the same. You also would like mix the lees and like the must in winemaking, just so that everything gets contact with the things that are gonna kick off the chemistry, right? But then they found out that like it's a time based process and it's a heat based process. So like all the stomping and hollering like doesn't necessarily speed up the process, but some folks still do it because it's part of the tradition. I don't know if that's a great description, but
That makes sense.
yeah, just you can imagine in your head like people churning, and it tends towards like a more, it's interesting because the rice that you've chosen isn't known, it's more known for being like floral and fruity, but Kimoto is typically has like more amino acids and is a little bit more like savory umami rice.
Which part's the Yama?
Yeah, the Yamada Nishiki is the rice.
Yamada Nishi.
Yeah. So you texted me the other day and you tried a sake called Demon Slayer. Where were you? What was that?
Funnily, I don't really know if that's the right word there. Like I was saying, my cup is from Chicago at a restaurant that I got in Chicago, but this is like, I think you can get this a lot of places. I think it's like a brand. I was at a speakeasy in Chicago. I was visiting Chicago. It's called Iazad Momotoro, I think. I don't know if it's something like that. But it's like an actual, I think it's like a sushi restaurant, and then downstairs they have a speakeasy where they have like, they don't have like the full menu, but they have a larger like liquor menu, and it's like, it's kind of more like a party down there than a fancy dinner. But yeah, they didn't have like I guess they had a more extensive sake list than I think I sent you. I think I sent you
You sent me like a show.
the small one where you could just get it by the glass, but.
Cool, really cool. So I didn't really think that you were drinking wine, but when you go out, will you like gravitate towards sake? Is that new?
I
don't think you're a big drinker, period.
I'm going. Well, I was about to say I'm going enough places where I'm drinking enough things that I'm having a little bit of everything. It really depends. I think kind of what spurred the fact that I drink sake sometimes is just like I eat a lot of Asian food, just based on where I live, the people who I spend time with who like, a lot of Japanese food. Often if you get Korean food, they'll have like shochu, but they might also have sake and Japanese whiskey, and I don't know. It's like one that I'm slightly familiar with, so I can kind of have an educated decision, just because maybe I don't want to drink a Sapporo every time. Maybe I don't want to, not, and that's nothing against Sapporo. I like Sapporo. Same thing with wine. I don't drink a whole lot of wine, but if I'm spending a Friday staying in my apartment, I'll get a nice bottle of wine, figure it out, take a guess, but.
That's awesome. No, it's funny. It's funny that you say that. So you're about to be 27. You've lasted in New York City several more years than I did, but the way you kind of describe like living in the city and like going around and trying new things that was very much my experience. Like, I found the city extremely stimulating, like intellectually stimulating, but also like sensory overload a lot of the time. And it was really fun because it expanded my palate, my worldview, but like in terms of the things that I was eating, drinking, and getting to experience, it was like it was a lot to take in at once.
Yeah.
And really, my strategy was like, I didn't want other people to know that I didn't know what I was doing or what I was drinking. So I would get a menu and I would just pick something kind of at random on the menu and I would say, oh yes, I'm having that, and have it brought to the table, and no matter what it was, I would just pretend like that was the thing that I like wanted. And that was most of it. It turned into a kind of game where like I would try new things, and I was living in a big city, and 80% of what I was trying was great, even if it wasn't my preferred. So that really, I think, pushed my palate quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I I don't think I ever get the same thing twice, really. Other than like the only thing I get, the same thing I get twice, is like I have a pretty consistent, if I'm going out and just going to a bar and drinking with my friends, like I'm only drinking Heineken, I'm not touching anything else. Shout out Tim Lane. Besides that, I like rarely, even if I get You know, I guess like if I get a glass of wine at dinner, like I'm probably gonna get another glass of the same thing. You know, I'm not gonna get like
Yeah.
a red wine and a white wine, but if I like go somewhere and get a cocktail, like I'm probably gonna get it. If I'm gonna get another cocktail, I'm gonna get like
Something else.
another one. Like with sake, like I barely know what I'm doing enough to get the same. If I were to go next door, you know, if I go to a sushi restaurant and I go next door to somewhere, they also have a sake list. I probably won't remember what I got, so. I'll just kind of pick the one I like. I think I generally gravitate towards ones that seem like crisp and clean. I think it's like unique that it's a alcoholic drink that is kind of clean and it's not vodka, you know, because I don't want to sit there and drink a glass of vodka, but drinking like a clear liquid that just tastes like water that makes you have more fun sometimes is like, what else could you want?
Well, no, I think it's I don't know. I think it's fun. It's cool that you are living in the city and kind of like exploring sake on your own. But I think, I mean, you hear about like global alcohol trends, and it's young people aren't drinking, young people aren't consuming the same way like Gen X was for sure. And even the consumption trends are like pretty different from the way that like millennials on the whole are drinking. And a really simple explanation for that is like there wasn't the same, like anybody who turned 21 or 22 during the pandemic times wasn't going out to the bars, like wasn't introduced to bar culture in that same way. Like you had to be, you know, you had to be born in like specific years to like get into bar culture, I guess. So it seems to be right now a lot of people who are like Gen Z, and I know that you're like cuspy. A lot of people younger than you aren't drinking in the same ways, and that's going to change like the whole alcohol industry and sales at large. But even despite that, like sake sales are up. Like people are interested in sake as like a connection to Japanese culture. It's like got an interesting story. So where wine sales might be down and where, you know, I don't know, like a 2-for-1 beer special or like shot special like doesn't bring people to bars like it used to, an interesting, nicer beverage is still exciting to a lot of people. And so sake is like having a lot of growth right now. It's pretty fun.
So you're saying I'm basic?
No, I'm saying no, not at all. I'm saying you're cool.
Yeah, okay.
Saying you're hip
I'll take
and
that.
on trend. No, but I wanted to talk to you about your, I don't know, kind of how you think about exploring sake, because I think that you represent a big like shift in drinking habits. I'm not saying you're like everyone else, but I'm saying that understanding how you are thinking about what you're drinking could help to explain why sake is growing as well.
Everybody saw me doing it, and now they're all doing it. Where this is
Yes, you're
going?
a trendsetter, is what I'm trying to say. Gosh. There's some other things too. I mean, sake has some different acids than wine that can be easier to pair food wise from a fine dining perspective. There's a lot of opportunity. Like sake opens up the door to a lot of opportunities, so that's cool. It's better for your teeth. Dentists prefer sake. If that matters to you, it matters to some people.
Is it just because it's not like red?
Yes, but also because it won't rip the enamel off your teeth.
I didn't know anything was doing that.
You drink too much wine and it will wreck your teeth, unfortunately.
Good enough.
Yeah. I don't think you are drinking enough wine where that could ever be an issue, but like for people in the industry,
Yeah.
gotta be aware. Yeah, so I want to talk to you about sake and wine for sure, but I'm also like you also have an interest in fragrance that's pretty unique. That's pretty cool. And I don't know where that came from. Like when did you first get into fragrance? Because it was before you were living in New York.
Yeah. I was really bored when I was living in Michigan, and my one of my friends one time was like, "Hey, you want to go to like this big fancy mall?" And we walked around the mall smelling fragrances for like 3 hours. That was the first time I really thought about it. I mean, that's not the first time I really thought about it. I I always liked how things smelled. I just didn't like. I don't know. I was a kid. I didn't have any money, so I didn't really think about like cologne or anything like that. You know, because when you're in middle school, people are spraying Axe. You don't want to smell like Axe. Like then you just smell gross and weird. I preferred the Yankee Candle store as a kid, but that was just kind of. I guess it was like a reminder, you know, and it was a reminder. So instead of it being like, oh, this is cool, I liked how this one thing smelled, maybe I should buy that. I was like, this is cool. I liked how a lot of different things smelled. maybe I should just like make this huge list, smell everything I could ever smell, watch all these videos, blah blah blah, like do all this stuff because like I said, I had a lot of time. I don't know. It's just like it's like a funny, not funny, but it's like a fun little habit. It's like something you can research, but it's not like work. You don't have to do anything with it. You can just be like this random knowledge you have. I don't even like talk about it that often because I feel so posh.
Pretty posh.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't really represent me, I don't think. So it's a bit of my, I like to share it with people. I like to be like, oh, like, if one of my friends is like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about getting a cologne. I'm like, I'm your guy. Let me take you around, But even then, I'm not gonna be like, like smell that. What kind of notes do you get? What's in the base? What's in the what are the middle notes? What's in the heart? All that. So I don't know. It's kind of random. It's like something I kind of think about, not seriously, but sometimes I like put some real energy into it. And other times it's just like silly. Other times I'm just like, Jeremy Fragrance is hilarious. So
Jeremy
I'm gonna go watch
Fragrance.
some Jeremy Fragrance videos. Who I saw him in New York actually.
Saw him?
I didn't speak to him, but I was walking down the street and I saw a dude down the street in a full white suit, and I was like, "Who's that guy in a full white suit?" And then he just started sprinting and he ran. He was across the street from me, on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
But like as I watched him run and watched like a woman in heels try to chase after him, who was I don't know if it was like
Wait,
someone
what?
who he was hanging out with, someone who worked for him or what. I was like, "Yep, that's like definitely Jeremy Fragrance."
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait, you recognize it was him because someone was chasing after him?
No, that just kind of like the ridiculous of it. Then
Yeah.
went from, oh, who's that guy in a white suit, to all kind of making sense. And then like I went and like found him on social media that he had been in New York that weekend. And like
Yeah.
I like tapped my friend. I was like, dude, that's Jeremy Fragrance. And they're like, who? And I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize you weren't cultured. But
Wow. But no, I think, yeah, it's funny what you say. Like, you like research it sometimes, you like get into it sometimes. But I think you've been doing it enough, here and there over the years that like I do think of you as somebody who knows quite a bit about fragrance, and like you're pretty on top of fragrance trends, which I don't know, like yeah, it does kind of sound posh, but like that's just like anything else. It's just like an interest and a hobby, and a lot of people are there's a big community around fragrance too, even if it's
was
not.
what the kids like it these days.
Who are the kids?
You ever heard about smell maxing?
Dude, no. What is smell maxing?
It's like the same thing as looks maxing, but like it's just like there's like a trend that, and like I've like read things on like Reddit and I don't know, random articles of like teachers, like middle school teachers being like 14 boys walk into my room and all of them are wearing like, it's not like they're not even wearing Axe now, it's like they're all wearing
Something different.
these obnoxious expensive fragrances. Like where do they get this money from? Who's buying this for them? They have no like self awareness.
It's probably like,
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've been at stores, where like two kids come with their soccer bags on, looking like some bums, and they're like, "Yes, can I smell?" And they like list like four like niche expensive fragrances, one from Paris, one from Austria. Like I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, go buy some Skittles. But
kids these days, man. That's crazy. I've never heard of smell maxing. I didn't even know.
look into it.
That's funny. Okay, but even the fragrance thing, like, it's silly because we didn't like our parents didn't do a lot of fragrance. We didn't eat a lot of like crazy. We had like a pretty, what's the term that they use? Like our food was pretty bland, and like there wasn't a lot of like allergens in our home. You know what I mean? We were a Lowry salt family.
A little bit, a little bit. We had some Zender's chicken seasoning.
Yeah, like, but that was the extent. So
A
I think
little
it's
bit
I
of
just
days, but yeah.
I think it's funny that both you and I, separately and independently, have like really pushed into sensory, specifically like scent development and like exploration. It's weird.
You say that though, but like it runs in the family. Like
Scents?
mom was just antiquing instead. That was her little thing. Maybe dad couldn't smell for a while because he had too much paint in the basement.
Yeah, he collects the art books. No, that's definitely there's definitely something to that.
I
It's an
think we have a
art.
family of people who hyperfixate a bit. So maybe what the thing they're not hyperfixating on, they don't think as much about.
No, that's so true. I definitely think there's like an art kid element to it. Um, Definitely like the researching and like getting into a niche thing is runs in the family. But I still think you said something about like studying fragrance, whatever, if you'll accept that term studying, but like learning about fragrance reminds me of a time when you had a lot of time, which is wild. For me, focusing on like the tasting notes and enjoying, like, instead of just like drinking something to have a glass in your hand, or like drinking something socially, but really being like intentional about what I'm drinking and seeing how it can. I mean, sometimes I'll have a glass of something and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of something I haven't thought about in 15 years. What is it that is making that connection? And then I can identify like the thing that that memory and this glass of wine have in common. It's like super crazy. So there is definitely like a, I don't know, like a be here now. It's like a meditation almost when I'm
Well, that's
tasting.
the thing. That's a scientific thing, a little bit. The
Yeah.
sense of smell, which is obviously very close to your sense of taste, are like the most connected to your memory. And like, I don't know if it's just like where it is in your brain or what, but that's why a lot of like most hotels, have their own. They'll have custom scents made just for their lobbies and such, so people will recognize this good smell, and then like the smell, and it's always gonna remind me of a hotel. And then if they smell that somewhere else, they think of their hotel, and if they like it, and it kind of like it's like a circle. It's a circle of I like how this thing smells, reminds me of a hotel, and because I'm thinking about how I like how this thing smells, I'm liking the time I had in the hotel.
Sure. Do you think it's possible that everyone in our family is just like extremely has an extremely sensitive like sense of smell or palate in general?
Maybe I don't know if like sensitive because I know people who are set who I feel like I know who have a sensitive sense of smell, and it's like abrasive to them. It's like.
Well,
And
yeah.
I don't feel that way. Like I don't get overwhelmed by smells. I think I just recognize them well. I think I'm good at like pinpointing them well.
But if you walk outside your door and it's like a 90-degree day in New York City and what like there's a
It's like trash.
there's like a pile of leaking trash bags, like that's not offensive to you? Like
Maybe I'm just.
you are quite unbothered. It's great. It's a good quality.
But no, like definitely. Like I feel like I've always. That's something like mom would always say. I always had a sense of smell. Like my super sniffer, like Gus from Psych.
I did remember that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do remember joking about that. I don't know. Weird family quirk, weird family trait. But I wouldn't. Did you change your name to number seven? That's brilliant. I wouldn't have expected that. Either of us would fall into these interests. And you know me. Like I have an interest and I get really into it, and then I'm like, I am gonna pick up a new one.
I think something like this that was a nice interest because it kind of can just go forever.
Yeah. It
Like
kind
I
of.
get. Yeah, exactly. You can learn more about it. You can kind of pick up where you want. You can do what you want with it. Like I'm never like with fragrance, for example. And wine is the same thing. Like you're never gonna try everything in the world. You're never gonna be able to
Totally.
buy and own everything in the world, but you can kind of see what's going on. And
Hey, what's up? You're on camera. Do you need a
is
glass of
this, dude,
sake?
you wanna try some sake?
Oh yeah,
You'd have a sip.
this guy. We're doing something here.
Yeah, dude, we're busy.
Oh, gang's all here. I love it. I can't see your face. I don't know what your reaction is. I don't think you like it.
Wow, that kind of burns going down a little bit
Cool.
physically.
Okay.
So
Like
it
in a
might
good
be a little
way?
bit stronger, but I thought the taste was. I thought it was really smooth. Yeah, it makes me ready to just be in Kyoto with the cherry blossoms. Like it almost teleported me there immediately. Um,
Sensory experience.
are you guys live? Like what are we
No, we're
doing
not
here?
live.
No, it's recording, but it's not live.
Okay, so you're gonna clip farm from this little interview you're doing with Zach. Nice.
Yeah, you can't show anyone Reese. He's a devout Muslim, so no one can see him drinking alcohol.
It's true. Yeah, this is
Understood.
haram. This is harami behavior. Yeah. Well, hey, great to see you, Jackie.
Good to see you too, Reese.
And by the way, I forwarded your Instagram video that I saw to Zach.
Thank you for doing
Okay.
that.
I
That's
think a
awesome.
lot of people did that, but
Yeah, Tara did too. Like,
all right.
yeah.
I
All
said
right, bye.
bye. I said in the post, I was like, send this to Zach so he'll answer my FaceTime.
Yeah, Tara's comment was, "This is very relatable."
Okay, I was gonna ask you something that we didn't really get to or talk about. You watch anime. Do you read manga?
No, like, no, no. I've watched a lot more than I've read.
What is it? Oh, it's starting to get dark. What is it that you, what introduced you to anime?
I mean, actually, I guess there's different versions, kind of similar, like what I was saying with like the fragrance thing. You know, there was like a small introduction. You know, I got one at a point in time, forgot about it for a while, and then when it was reintroduced, I was like, oh yeah, I like this thing. You know, I should do it. Like some of it's like simple. You know, I mean, as a kid, I watched Pokemon, but I didn't think of that as watching anime.
Yeah, for some
But
reason.
it is, you know, it is one. We just don't think about it. And like I watched it in English, you know, it was just on Cartoon Network. But then there was even some like loose traces. Like you remember Neo Yokio, the show with
I
Jaden
will never
Smith, written
forget Neo
by.
Yokio. Everyone watch Neo Yokio right now. It is so good. It is.
But that was like another, you know, that's fake again. You know, it's in English. It's written by an American, and like everyone is an American, but it's kind of, you know, it's taking everything from anime and trying to make just like an American animated show.
But that's
So I think that was same. Yes, no, you go.
it's kind of my point is that like used to be like weirdo to like Japan. Like it used to be like a very like nerdy, like weebo type. Like people who like Japan were considered like kind of strange and weird. And I think Japanese culture is such a part of the mainstream, an increasing part of the mainstream. And even, you know, I think for anybody who like grew up in New York City, an interest in Japanese culture was like more normalized. You know, it was probably like 10 years ago or longer. But like, I want to say that we grew up in the Midwest. I didn't really, it wasn't like a normal hobby or interest or language to study.
Yeah, I mean that's just us being closed-minded in the middle of nowhere. There's way less Japanese people. I don't think there wasn't a good ramen shop in East Lansing or Lansing that I knew of until maybe I'd gone to college and come back. Even really, obviously, like, there's way more things than just that. That would be like a representation of Japanese culture, but just like the out of like it wasn't just not mainstream. It wasn't there was nowhere to just happen upon it. You know, you would have to go looking for it. I don't think that's the case in a bigger city like New York. Like,
That's true.
you couldn't hide from it if you tried. It's gonna present itself somewhere.
But even
Um,
so, if you think about like travel trends, it was very popular to travel to Japan. It's still like a top place to travel right now. But now, you know, it's been popular to travel to Croatia and it's been popular to travel to Portugal. Those kind of came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It does,
yeah.
you know, in 8 years, like, are we gonna see more Vino Verde on wine lists here? Like, yes, I think we
Wait, no, literally, I've seen that like in the past like couple weeks. Like I got a Vino Verde somewhere, not knowing what it was, but I was like, whatever. Like I like how that sounds. I'll get it. And then now I've like seen it more places, and I was like, is this a new thing that I just wasn't noticing because I had never gotten before, or what?
no, I definitely think that it's Vino
What is it,
Verde.
Portuguese?
It's Portuguese, yeah, and it's a very light table wine. Like it's pretty cheap. It's very cheap in Portugal, and even when it's imported here, it's not very expensive, and it rocks. It's awesome. It's, you know, even lighter than Sauvignon Blanc, which is all anybody wants to drink these days. So yeah, it's just interesting how certain places of the world are still seen as like exotic or niche or whatever, and then other places in the world tap into like it's like yeah, oh yeah, it's foreign but it's cool, you know. Things can be foreign and bad, and things can be foreign and cool. And Japan is like really hitting a stride right now, and I hope that that will continue because I just love.
Some of it's purposeful, you know.
What
Like
do you
the whole Hello Kitty rebrand thing. That was, you know, that was a very purposeful global thing, and that clearly made its way to the U.S.
You're not wrong, but I don't. You
I
think
don't think that's a straight representation. I'm just saying, like, I think there are places that Japan's such a small place. You know, if you look at like obviously there's a large population. Tokyo is like the biggest city in the world, or most populated city in the world, I think. They were so for a long time they were very isolationist, and then they went the opposite. I feel like, and had to kind of not had to, but they purposefully expressed themselves to the world, and then people liked it.
interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of like a cultural event or like a historic event or even like a trade agreement that like would have suddenly boosted Japan to popularity in the States. I do think it's been super gradual, but the rise is still there. I can say that it was just in December 2024, the UNESCO World Heritage declared like sake making. It's now like they have World Heritage sites, and this is an intangible heritage. It's like a protected skill almost. So people like. There's been a push. Yeah, you can say that it's like a little bit political, but I don't know if it goes beyond just like trying to recognize sake making as like an artisan skill. But
I'm not saying every single thing. I'm just saying like you're just saying how like how like it changes and different places become popular and stuff. There was definitely just like there was a self promotion at some point in time that happened that then Japan became somewhere that people knew more about it. There was something to know about, and then people get to know more. And I feel like that's like that'll continue to happen in different places. It's like if you knew nothing about South Korea 5 years ago, and then all of a sudden you started listening to BTS, then you're gonna go learn more about South Korea because K-pop is how we're gonna put ourselves on the map. Have you heard the whole Thai food thing?
No.
Thai food was pretty much. This is all we might need to fact check some of this, but the Thai food wasn't super traditional Thai food. They were like, let's make a food that we can kind of call Thai food, export to places like America, and they will all these Thai food restaurants that we eat, like Pad See Ew and Pad Thai, that was kind of made for us. It wasn't.
Not
It
even
wasn't
Thai
traditional.
food. It's Thai American. Bummer. Yep.
Same thing was with chicken tikka. Like I remember, like 6 months ago, the guy who started that died. And I was like, "What do you mean the guy who made it died recently?" It's like, yeah, like that's not. That might be the only Indian food you've ever had before if you've only eaten at like one Indian restaurant your whole life in Lansing, Michigan. But obviously,
We love
there's
Lansing,
much more
Michigan.
tradition.
We
Me
love.
too. I'm just saying that is an example of somewhere where you would have. If you had
Only
your
ever
chicken
had.
tikka once, you might only ever order chicken tikka again.
I'd also like to say that there's a large Indian population where we grew up, and yeah, there is. So,
Not comparatively to other places, but okay.
not compared to India. You're right.
or like New Jersey.
Okay, I don't know. I can't speak to that. But all to say, I am almost done with my glass. It is dark outside, so I've lost my lighting. That is wild. Okay. Well, I think we're done.
Wait, look, I brought because I knew you were gonna bring up fragrance. I picked 3 out. This
Well,
is
why
our
did you
first
show
one.
them to me?
Well, I can show them to you now,
Hold on.
and you can just do it later. Like Reese said, you're clip farming.
Yeah, I know, but
You're aura farming.
it's tough to do when the lighting changes. Okay, change the lighting. Show the fragrances.
So this is the first one I ever got.
Yeah.
And this I got from Macy's.
Did I get that? Was I with
Small.
you?
You may have been, honestly.
Because I was like, it makes you seem like an intellectual.
Maybe. I didn't know anything about Mont Blanc, but I was like, wow, these guys have cool pens.
They do indeed. Okay, cool. So the Mont Blanc. What else?
And then the first ever niche fragrance I got, even though like it's a pretty popular niche brand, is my Diptyque.
Oh, Diptyque.
Rose.
Oh,
Just rose.
okay.
Yeah.
Rose water.
It's just rose, yeah. And it's like a pretty popular, it's like a relatively popular one.
Diptyque.
A lot of people say there's no such thing as gender in fragrance, but it's probably a bit more on the feminine side, or I'd say more women probably wear it, but it smells like a rose, and I like roses.
Thanks.
And then this is probably my current favorite, which is from Dias and Durga, which is a New York brand.
I remember you talking about that one. Yeah.
And I actually that's the one that I've gotten Dad. I got Dad something for Christmas from them, and he's now on like now he loves them. Every post they have on Instagram he sends me, and he
Double tap.
picking and choosing which ones he wants. That's my little self plug for a not small business but relatively local niche perfume brand.
What do you like about them, or what does that particular fragrance do for you?
I think that I was kind of introduced to them locally, as in like I think the first time I ever went there, they probably had like 3 shops, like one in New York, it's all made in New York, and then one in like LA at that point in time. But it was just kind of, it wasn't something that I heard about, or someone I just walked into one day and then decided to learn more about, and they're a bit funky. Some of their stuff, their whole thing is kind of like what Reese said about the sake. Like I felt like I was transported straight to Kyoto. Their whole thing is armchair perfume travel, and like what you smell should take you somewhere. They always have like a little blurb, and it's you can kind of take for that what you want. Like some people might say it's corny. So I think it's like it's cool. It's cool just to kind of have an idea of what someone was trying to make.
Yeah.
Like see what they were trying to make, even if you don't necessarily completely agree with it. Like it's just like a nice insight to have. And they smell good, obviously. But I have like three or four of the perfumes, and some of them are like I would wear them all day. The first one I ever got. It's funny they actually discontinued it because it wasn't super popular. One of the main smells was pinion, which is like the Ferraris growing up had these little like, and it's a very popular. I don't know if it's like a tree exactly or what, but they have like it's like a little kind of hut thing, and then you burn like this pinion fragrance. It's like comes in like these small little cubes, kind of like a little teepee type thing, and then the smoke comes out of the top
Yeah.
of it. They always had that because they lived in New Mexico at a point in time, and like so Ian would always have that. Be like, this is like my parents every time they go to New Mexico bring this back, and he gave it to me one time, and I was like, this is like something I haven't smelled in so long. So it kind of was that exact thing. It was a smell that both took me to a memory of my own, but a place
Yeah.
very different than where I am.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
fun. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was. I recently was having, have a tasting group, and we were having a drink, and I tasted something, and I was like, I hate this. I hate this. And I looked at my friend, and I was like, why do I hate this? What does it smell like? Like, what does it remind you of? And he was like, crab apples. And I was like, yeah, it's exactly crab apples. Who wants to drink that? And it reminded me of like the smell of those those hard pears that would like never become anything you could eat in our backyard.
Yeah.
Just bitter and fragrant and horrible.
It is interesting how close two things can be. That no one else might think that. And if you didn't have that, you'd like it. But
No,
since you have like
exactly.
the negative connotation of something similar, that you can't really enjoy that thing.
It's totally personal. Although you can cook crab apples. This is how I learned that. There are people who are making like jellies and jams out of crab apples.
Really?
But you can also make food from roadkill. To each their own.
Yeah, I was watching a show yesterday when a guy ate a rat.
Nice.
He was being held sieged in his one of his outwardly royal houses because there was a coup.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
He didn't like it, but actually him eating a rat is what led to him abdicating the throne. So.
This wasn't the great, was it? I
It-
love the great. Other things about fragrance. No, I was just gonna say the commercials are so cheesy, so corny, but so fun. And I remember like sitting in our living room, just like laughing my head off at a commercial that had Natalie Portman in it, and it was a fragrance commercial. And I was like, yeah, if I work in marketing, I don't want to work in anything but fragrance. This is so silly, but at the same time, like super beautiful and fun. And then I did work at a fragrance company. So
It's kind of similar to that I was saying recently that would be very fun. The people who make the commercials for like medication commercials, I think they learned that everyone like medication commercials are so boring and dull that they're like, this nothing we will do should have anything to do with like the actual medicine. And they're like, let's just make it the most absurd commercial anyone's ever seen. Then they'll watch it. And we're actually thinking of this. I keep seeing this once, like for this dog. It's like a flea. It's something for your dog, right? And they have this dog that's running through like a dog park, but all the things that it's running through are like a flea, like a tapeworm. It's like kind of gross. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's like this dog is running and jumping and like bouncing off the fleas, and then like the tube that dog's running through,
Yeah.
like is like the tapeworm. Like the tapeworm like attacks the dog, and he runs through it and comes out smiling. And it's like that's just like disgusting and so gross. But I remember it. Simparico Trio is what it's called.
Oh my
And I
God.
remember that. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm a dog. And I knew if someone was like, my dog has fleas, I know what drug they need.
I remember Canine Advantix. Do you remember that song? I'm biting and I'm not itching. Gosh, now I can't remember the song, but
The one I do, I remember
Advantix stopped all the biting, running, hiking, and tent fishing. They're not biting. I'm not itching. Can't wait to
for
show
ticks
you
or something.
all my new tricks. Thanks again for sending me Canine Advantix.
Oh, it's the same thing. It's also for dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Maybe there's one company or one person who's just figured it out. There's a lot. You remember the Bob commercials?
Yes.
That like, and it took me, and I didn't know because I was so young. Yeah, literally the whistle. I had no idea that it was like the equivalent of Viagra or Cialis. I
Yeah.
kind of figured it out on the one when he's Santa Claus. Well, and I didn't know. I still didn't know this until later. But there's one when he's Santa Claus, and the whole commercial was like people are coming, like all the women are coming and sitting on his lap and like whispering in his ear, being like, "This is what I want for Christmas."
Ew.
And I was like, "What could they like?" The child was like, "What could this drug possibly be doing that makes
Women
like."
whispered in.
Yeah, why do I just know this Bob dude is cool? Like, what is good about this Bob dude? And I was like, yeah, it was the fact that he didn't have ED.
Love that.
I
Love
paid
it.
too much attention to commercials as a kid. I still do.
I think that's what they're for, though. Okay, you know there's some sakis that are made in Brooklyn.
Really, Japanese people or just like random people making sake?
I mean, know of so Desai is a really popular sake brand that has just built a facility in Brooklyn in Hyde Park.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really popular. And it's kind of like, have you seen like the splits, the like mini bottles of, it's called Shandong.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's California sparkling wine that has been purchased by Moët Chandon, right? Because they're kind of, they want to protect the quality of their brand. They want to make sure that like they're still making great wine, but they do also have to kind of hedge for climate change and low yield and stuff like that. Whatever. So Chandon is making sparkling wine that's just sold in the US. It's not champagne, but like it's close. It's a champagne substitute, and then
Yeah,
decide.
so there's a French company that's California wine space.
Yeah,
Like bought vineyard space in California. Okay.
and more places are doing that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
it's not uncommon.
Wait, how do you spell that? Chendon? Okay, I did. I was thinking like Shen, like Shen Dong, Dong.
No,
Shen Yun.
totally different.
China before the Communist Party.
Totally different. But I do believe that Decide Blue is what they're making, and that's primarily sold in the U.S. So like primarily New York. If you see that, there's also a place called Brooklyn Kura, Kura, and I don't know how to say it, Kato Sake in Brooklyn. But yeah, I mean like it's still kind of like a hipster bev, and then like you can take a class on tasting, and I think they'll even show you like some of the sake making process. The brewing is pretty cool to see in person. I would love to see that in person. So yeah,
Yeah.
and
No, actually, I live in a pretty good area for like the fact that I was able to just it's like there's a lot of places that carry a couple sake things, but there's definitely some very good sake and even like this was the cheapest one, like I said, and it's still pretty good. Seems pretty legit. It doesn't seem like the place I would buy something not good at all. And it's because it's like tucked in between. Like there's a street that's just like it actually has my favorite restaurant in New York, which is a Vietnamese restaurant. Right next to a Star's favorite restaurant, which is like a hot pot restaurant. And they also like if you keep going down the street, like across the street, they actually have a sake bar down the street. It's like just like literally like it's 3 streets of just like, and I'm sure there's other places too. Like everyone talks about like how good the food is in Flushing. Like I'm sure like there's some amazing Chinese restaurants in Chinatown, obviously like things like that, and like Sunset Park I think has like a very large like predominantly Asian area. So I'm sure there's super good food there too. But I just happen to live like 2 blocks from this one street in East Village that is just like Asian food central, and they sell Sunny Asians.
and they sell Sunny
I
Asian.
wonder why. Maybe just because it's close to NY.
Could be.
It's not like my neighborhood is super Asian.
You'll be seeing sake in a lot of places that aren't necessarily Japanese food, Asian fusion restaurants, and that's it's kind of how you know that you've broken in. When people are like pairing sake and pizza.
Actually, I live around the block from a Korean pizza place, which is a bit different, but it's like very good.
Is it good?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
they have like I haven't been in a while. I should go, but they have like it's like it is straight up pizza, but it's just like the things they have. They have like I can't even think about what the slice is. One was another like one. It's like potato slice. It's really good. It's like potato and something else, and they have another one that's like their. Oh, they have like a bibimbap slice.
Oh, I love bibimbap.
That's super good.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
But it's not like fake, It's not like someone's just like, oh, we're just like throwing something here and calling it bibimbap. Like it's really like the same quality you'd get if you're just getting bibimbap on the same kind of meat. But like now they put on a pizza and have like corn, like all this stuff on it. It's really good.
Okay, well, next time I'm in the city, let's go there because that sounds amazing. Okay, dude, do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm just keep sending you pictures of us and ask you what to get.
Keep sending me pictures of lists. I enjoy it.
And you send me places which I'll have to actually look into.
Yeah, I
It's
think,
hard, you know, there's so much good of every kind. It's hard to hit everything. But
yeah. But I'm gonna link in the description some places in Brooklyn that I think are cool, and some places that carry, that work with the same distributor because I think that they are.
well, is this a sponsored video?
No, it's not sponsored. I just like drink something every time, and this one I really like.
Yeah, the
I got
first.
2 more bottles of them that I think are freaking phenomenal. This one here is also a Saki Suki. That's the importer.
Sauvage.
Sauvage, yes.
Dior Sauvage.
It's a Junmai
Made
Daikin.
into a sake.
No, it has nothing. Has nothing to do with
It's Johnny's favorite.
nothing
And
to
and
do.
Kylian Mbappe.
It has nothing to do with Kylian Mbappe, but it is a really, really beautiful example of what omachi can do at the daiginjo level. And I've also got.
Yeah, that's actually something you could tell me. You could tell me the different kinds are.
Yeah, well, I should have done that an hour ago.
Like I know, like there's Junmai, right? Like, and what's one is Daiginjo? Is that the most filtered one? Because I know like they kind of classify them by how filtered they are versus nothing.
So it's true that they do classify by filter, but they also classify by polish grade. Daiginjo means that's the highest level. They come in levels, right? So it doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's polished. At least 50% of the grain that's been used to make the sake has been polished away. So there's 50% or less remaining.
Okay.
Genjo is 60%, a step down, so 60% or less remaining. So if, let's say if it was, there's 59% polish, it still wouldn't be a daigenjo, it would be a genjo, you see? And then the next level down, 70% is Hanjozu. Hanjozu also has some alcohol added to it. Actually, I need to double check that. That might be wrong.
I would have believed you.
Yeah, but I can't lie. I
Personally.
can't lie to people. So the next level down is Hanjozo, and then unspecified polish ratio is Junmai. And Junmai doesn't mean that it's not a good quality sake. It just means that as you polish away more and more, I would say that the brewer, the Toji, has more control over the like light, bright floral expression. And then the Junmai sakes that have a lot of like amino acids and proteins still left on them because they haven't been polished down as much. They are gonna have some more of those like umami, like mushroomy, ricey characteristics that can be really good when you warm them up. They can be really tasty. They can also be really good with beef. So there's a lot.
What about Nagori?
So Nagori is a coarsely filtered sake. So it's not completely unfiltered. If it's completely unfiltered, it's going to look kind of like pulpy orange juice. But then Nagori is just going to have some. This one's actually a Nagori here because it's not all the way filtered. And Nagori is going to look and kind of have the consistency of a hazy IPA. Cool. Well, I don't know how to end this. So.
All right. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Good. No, it's good I think you're a good person to interview. I wish that I had been able to give the information I wanted to give in a more structured way, so I need to work on that, I think.
Well, I feel like I'm not a good person for that, because like we're just hanging out.
Yeah, you're not a structured guy. Yeah.
Well, no, but just like we're just having like it's like a conversation, and I don't know, I'm not. I feel like you can make it work.
Yeah, I'll just have to, what you're about to see may be spliced chaotically.
Yeah. Which is fine. I think that's how this can be, though. Sometimes it can be a conversation. Sometimes you can be talking to someone who actually wants to learn something. Like I don't really want to learn anything because there's just like I know there's not enough. We'd have to do this once a week if I want to learn anything. I'd have to be coming to your place if I want to learn anything. So.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, the goal is that we'll be able to do I want people who are interested in this stuff to be able to learn in little bite-sized amounts. So if you did listen through, a full season, a little something about something. And then it's by the course,
Yeah.
Because we do a weekly tasting group and people do really see their knowledge and their ability to identify what they like and don't like grows. But yeah, it's a long-term hobby. Well, totally.
You should talk to some people who know more than you and have them on your podcast. So then it's even
100%.
You can then the structured part is That's all you have to do. And they give you all the information. Not even information, but like they can just talk about it and you can be like, okay. For people who don't know what's going on, let me give it to you simple and then be like, you, Mr. Expert guy, woman maybe even.
That's a cool, yeah, that's a cool idea. I
Use
should
it.
talk to Saki Sarah.
Yeah.
But again, this is a little bit for me to practice and come up with a structure and figure it out. And I'm going to see what I can do with the raw material. And I do think it's a good idea to like kind of Bill Nye the Science Guy it and like talk to some other folks too. Oh my gosh, do I just want to be Bill Nye the Science Guy? Yes.
He's mean.
What do you mean he's mean?
Like in real life, he's apparently a pretty mean guy.
No way.
Like notoriously, like people that can't take a picture and he's like, fuck you, I'm Bill Nye the fuck you guy. I don't know if I've ever said that. That's a good.
Okay, so I don't want to, I mean, I don't know what to say to that.
If you need more just like practice with material and stuff, though, you can always use me.
Cool.
It's a fun way. I mean, it's fun to talk to you and my sister. So.
That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, I would love to interview you more and again, and tell you more stuff or whatever.
Next time we can talk about Fortnite.
What are we gonna talk about Fortnite, though? What do we have to say? What about Fortnite?
Fortnite's new updates. They have Saki now. You can get turned in Fortnite.
Is that real?
No, but they do have some weird ones.
I know about the Sabrina
Like
Carpenter thing.
Cybertrucks. The what thing?
Is that Fortnite? Sabrina Carpenter?
Yep, she's in it right now.
Well, they said
Ariana.
but they said that people are not completing their tasks. Like you get a little project to do in Fortnite and nobody is like doing the project. They're just getting in their little girl circles and I'm working late. And they said it's bad for the servers, like it's overloading the servers.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, do you want to dance out?
What does that mean?
It means I play a song and then we dance out.
And then I disappear? Sure. I mean, what song are you gonna play?
What? Do you have any song requests?
No.
I can't play.
You don't have any Japanese folk music?
I'm not
lined up?
I'm not gonna play any Japanese folk music, Sari. I
Why
think
not?
that would be weird.
Why? What if you play a song called I Mix 2 by OAOO? I can't hear what you're playing. No. What are you playing?
Yeah. But you can't hear it.
No.
Okay, you play a song then.
But it'll be the same thing, then you won't be able to hear it.
I don't think so. Try it. Try it. Try it. Only do this party for you.
I'll play my favorite song.
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh, I saw Sinners last night. You have to see it. You have to see it.
What?
Did you
Can you
hear
hear this?
No.
Oh, I can't hear you now at all. Like you've been muted.
Weird.
It's because my thing can only play one sound at a time. One sec. It would have. This is how it would have to. The only way it would work. Can you talk again?
Hello.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. I said I saw Sinners last night.
I know you said something. I saw you said something in our family chat.
You need to see it.
I want to.
Expeditiously.
Can you hear this now? It's because they're good. They're good at stopping background sounds.
Only do this party for you. Yeah, you do.
Oh, you get both.
Okay. Well, I think I'm
The only reasonable way to end this is
Cheers.
cheers.
I know you have to touch the. Nice.
Like, subscribe, and peace.
I'll let you get on with your day with us.
Oh, look at you. Advising me. You know, I'd like everyone to know that you didn't tell me what to get.
Okay, everyone knows. I didn't tell you what to get.
Like, why not?
God forbid.
What if I've got a bad one?
That, I mean, you didn't ask. Also, you didn't give yourself time to ask.
Well, I could have asked. No, you told me you wanted me to pick one. Wait, let's see if it sometimes,
I also said
not
you
often.
fixed me while you're there. Did I
True.
not? Did I not?
Let's see if sometimes Sake is on Vivino, but sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's kind of there. I will not suru. Okay, talk later.
Thank you later. Bye.
Peace, man.